Good. So, hey, before we get started here, just any questions on anything before we get going? Okay. So, what we're going to talk about today, actually, so let me start it this way. Throughout the training program, I give you guys some pretty good stuff. But what I'm going to tell you, what we're going to go through today, if you don't do anything else that I train, if you do nothing else that I train, if you'll do what we talk about today, you'll be successful. Now, that doesn't mean disregard everything else, but for real, this, what we're going to talk about today is the thing that's going to work. Now, with that being said, let me kind of caveat that by saying this. There is no magic bean. There's no silver bullet. And why I say that is you are going to have people contacting you constantly as agents of, we've got this program and come and do this and come and sign up for that and pay for this. And if you'll do this, you're going to make all that. Like, that's going to happen to you for the rest of your career in real estate. There is no magic bean. So it's snake oil. A lot of that stuff kind of is what I'm saying. Meaning they're going to come and try to sell you. If you'll do this, it's going to work. Now, with that being said, what I'm going to show you today will work. Get 100% guaranteed, because it's a math problem, and I'll show you what that looks like. But part of why I say that is it's still not, it's still work. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to do it. But it will work, and it's guaranteed to work, and I'll show you what that looks like today. Okay, so that's where we're headed today. Now, before we do that, though, let me start with this. So there are basically 4 types of people that you're going to work with in real estate. And so we're going to spend the majority of today talking about one of them. The other 3, I'm going to give you a quick overview on that we'll talk about. But just think of it this way. Like, to some extent, we were talking right before class started about how as you're calling people and sometimes you get a lead and you're nervous or whatever. At the end of the day, every single person is going to fall into one of 4 categories. And so we're going to talk about those 4 categories, but we're going to spend a ton of time on one of them today. Okay. So the first one that I want to start with, though, is what we would call over here is a client. Okay. So we're going to talk about what makes someone a client. So first, that's where we're going to go first, but we're going to spend most of the time talking about this 3rd category over here. Okay. Now, so just for the sake of making sure you guys understand, somewhat forget what you learned in real estate school. And I don't really mean that, but like, to some extent, what you learned in real estate school that makes somebody a client is true from a legal perspective. Okay. From a legal perspective, that's true. All the stuff you learned in real estate school that makes someone a client. But from the standpoint of making sure you're going to get paid from them, it's a little bit different than what the division taught you in real estate school that makes someone a client. Okay. So there's 4 criteria that has to happen for somebody to be a client. And that's where we're going to start with. So what would you guys say, and you could include what you learned in real estate school, but what are the things that make somebody a client? Okay. What does a person have to have, be, or do in order for them to be a client?
It's be a need.
Okay, good. That's actually number 2. So I'll tell you how to write it down. I'm going to write it as need, but let me tell you guys how to write it down. Here's what I would write down: is a client has a clear. So here's what you want to write down: they have a clear and present need that can be met. So a client.
Number 1.
No, that's number 2.
Oh, okay.
Number 2 is they have a clear and present need that can be met. Okay, so they have clear and present needs that can be met. Okay, so a client has clear and present needs that can be met. So clear and present needs that can be met. Okay, what does that mean? So Jeremy, you said they have a need. Okay, great. So they have clear and present needs that can be met. But what does that mean? Okay, I'll help you. They know what they want. Okay, they know what they want. They can afford it, meaning they're qualified or they have the cash to pay for it, and what they want exists. So they know what they want, they can afford it, and it actually really exists out there. See, there are some people who will show up and go, yep, this is exactly what I want. They'll detail out to everything exactly what they want, but it just doesn't exist. Or in that price range, it doesn't exist. So when I say they have clear and present needs that can be met, what we mean by that is that they know what they want, they can afford to buy it, or if it's seller, they'll sell, but if they can afford to buy it and it exists. So what they have made up isn't just a fairy tale, okay? All right, good. What else would a client have to have, be, or do? So they have clear and present needs that can be met was number 2.
Desire, willingness.
Okay, so I would still somewhat put that in here.
Need, yeah.
Clear and present needs that can be met. Think about in real estate school, what did they teach you had to have for somebody to be a client?
Patience.
Okay, good. So here's how I'm going to say it though. I'm going to put it down as you. Here's how I want you to write it down. They're committed. They are committed to working exclusively with you. So a client is committed to working exclusively with you. Now, how would they demonstrate that? That's right, by signing the buyer broker. So, but here's the thing. Could somebody be committed to working exclusively with you and not have signed a buyer broker? Yeah. Could somebody have signed a buyer broker but not be committed to working with you? Unfortunately, yes. So the key piece of it is that they're committed to working exclusively with you. The way they demonstrate it is by signing the buyer broker. Okay, good. Now, number 3 and 4 are harder, so I might have to get to you. But any ideas on number 3 or 4? Either one. But any other thoughts? What would they have to have, be, or do in order to be a client? Should we tell Zoom they can help you? Because we got like 5 or 6 people on Zoom. So
Can I call a friend?
okay, yeah, phone a friend. Okay, I'll give it to you. Next one is now. So here's how for you guys to write it down. They're committed to buying or selling. So they're committed to buying or selling now. So when is now? Define now for me. They're committed to buying or selling now, which means what? When is now? Is that tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock?
It's right now.
Okay, so
Not a month from now, it's like.
so you're saying it's not a month from now. Okay, so here's how I'm going to define it and how I want you guys to define it. Remember up here, we said they have clear and present needs that can be met. Now means if it's a buyer of a house, when we find the property that meets their clear and present needs, that they'll do it. If it's a seller, if we get an offer in that meets their needs, they'll do it. So now to me just means when the opportunity shows up, they'll act on it. So really, Mariano, for me, it could be a month from now. Now could still be a month, could be 2 months even. It's just a matter of whatever their need is that they have, when we find it. So if it's a seller, the offer coming in, whatever, or if it's a buyer, the property, now just means when the opportunity's there that has their clear and present needs, they'll act on it. That's what now means. So it's not necessarily it has to be tomorrow or next week or 2 weeks even. It's just, hey, we know exactly what you want. When it shows up, you're prepared to do it. If they were to say, well, now you call them and go, okay, it showed up, and they said, okay, well, that's great. Let's hope it's still available next May. Like, that's not now. Make sense? So it's just clear and present needs that can be met, and then they're prepared to act when that happens. Okay. Then the final one is more about management, but they have to be tethered. What does tethered mean? Okay, good. Connected. So how would we connect our client to us when we already talked agency up here, or the buyer broker? So it's not that. How would we tether or connect our client to us then? I'll give it to you because if you get it, good, but I'm not expecting you. to necessarily get it, but here's what it is. We connect them or tether them to us through appointments. Okay, so the way that we connect our clients or tether our clients to us is through appointments. So here's how I would say it to you. You can't have a client without having an appointment scheduled with that person. So what does that mean? If I go on an appointment with a client, what do I have to do at the end of that appointment?
Set the next one.
That's right. You should never leave an appointment with a client without scheduling the next appointment. Whatever it is. Like if you don't even know what it is, just set an appointment with them for 2 or 3 weeks out and you'll figure it out. And if you don't know, then call me and I'll help you figure out, like, okay, I scheduled an appointment, but I don't know what I'm going to do. Don't leave an appointment without scheduling the next appointment. See, the problem is people end up losing their clients. The client moves on from them. The reason that happens is because they didn't have them tethered by an appointment. If you have a client, you should always have an appointment. Have the next appointment scheduled. Doesn't matter what it is, but have an appointment scheduled within a month. The longest you should ever go out is a month. Now, here's why. Because remember, you got people who hopefully are committed to working exclusively with you. They have clear and present needs that can be met and they're ready to do it now. If you aren't connected to them, they'll go do it without you. Okay. All right. That's what makes somebody a client. So now the next one is what we're going to call as a prospect.
So Russ, you
Yes.
said that on 4, you don't want to go more than a month.
Correct.
So what would be the best? A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
So good question. To some extent, the best in terms of scheduling the next appointment, it depends on the client. And what I would say is just at the end of your meeting with them, you'll know when the next one should be.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, here's the thing. Let's say that it's a buyer of a house and they're very motivated to find a property. You don't want to go, okay, well, let's get together next month. You probably need to, hey, let's get together again, in a couple days or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Versus if it's a seller and I just listed their home and I feel like, hey, maybe they priced it a little high. So I feel like we're probably not going to get an offer right away. Like maybe I even think I'm going to have to do a price reduction on it to get an offer. That's in the scenario where I'd go, okay, let's schedule an appointment for a month out. So with a buyer, typically that meets the other 3 criteria, you're probably going to be doing it at least weekly. A seller, it might be monthly. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So next, we're going to talk next about prospects. So this is what makes somebody a client, is those 4 criteria. What makes someone a prospect is this. They are deficient in one or more of these. So a prospect is missing one or more of these 4 things. That's what makes them a prospect. And said another way, a prospect is hopefully becoming a client. Okay, so stop and think about it for a minute. For you guys that have been through some of my classes, in what is kind of the common theme that I tell you guys in terms of your purpose of prospecting is to do what? Good. The whole purpose of prospecting is to set an appointment, right? Why do we want to set an appointment with somebody? What's the purpose of setting the appointment?
Communication.
To earn their business.
Oh, sorry, say it again, Brielle. Hang on, though. I got the sound turned down. So now good.
To earn their business.
Okay, good. So so think of it this way. The purpose of you setting appointments with people is to meet with them to find out, are they committed to working exclusively with you? Do they have clear and present needs that can be met? And do they want to do something about those right away? That's the purpose of you setting an appointment with people. So the purpose of prospecting is to figure out where they're at in terms of this. See, so when you go on an appointment with somebody, hopefully what happens is you get them to want to be committed to working exclusively with you because you find out about their clear and present needs that can be met and that they want to do it right away. Therefore, they become a client. So a prospect is missing one or more of these 4 things. Okay, so now with that being said, let's assume that what they're missing is the tethered piece. So if you had somebody who said they were committed to working, you think they're committed to working exclusively with you, they have clear and present needs that can be met, and they're ready to go now, but you don't have an appointment with them, how should you manage them then? Because remember, the way I manage our clients is through appointments. How should I manage a prospect? Or let me even say, call it this. Let's say that it's a lead. Another word for prospect is just they're a lead. Okay. So how would you want to manage a prospect and it can't be an appointment because that's the way we manage our clients, right? So if I'm missing one or more of those other items, that makes the person a prospect. How would I manage it? So let me ask it again. Let me say it this way. I have somebody who I think is committed to working exclusively with me. But I don't have a buyer broker site. Let's say that they're a buyer, or if it's a seller, I don't have a listing site. Okay. They have a clear and present need that can be met, and they need to act on it, and they're going to act on it as soon as they find whatever that need is. And I don't have an appointment with them. What should I do to manage those people?
So just talking phone calls.
Good. So I'm going to manage them through phone calls. How often would you say? Minimum.
I would say every other day.
Good. Weekly. So here at minimum, at least weekly, if not more often. Okay. So a prospect, the way we manage them is through contact one time per week until they become a client, or until they become what we'll talk about the rest of the class over here, or I drop it. Okay, so think of it this way. The purpose of your prospecting is to set an appointment. The purpose of you getting an appointment with people is to find out, are they committed to working exclusively with you? Do they have clear and present needs that can be met? Are they prepared to act on those now? And can you keep them working with them? The purpose of your prospecting is to set an appointment so that you can find those things out. So just kind of keep that in mind as you think through as we go through this whole process, that the whole purpose of let me say it this way, of lead follow-up. So in your prospecting, you're not always going to set an appointment, right? Like our objective is to set an appointment, but we're not always going to do that. When I don't, then I want to have them become a prospect or a lead that then I'm going to follow up on that lead at least weekly until they either become a client, I drop them, or they fall into this other category that we're going to spend the whole rest of the class talking about. So if you're with me, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That was some delayed yeses. One more time. If you're clear, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So Russ?
Yes.
When you make a follow-up call, is there a certain one of those four that you might lead in with in talking with them? So you want to find out if all four of them exist yet, right?
Correct. So, so the only purpose of this call though is to set the appointment.
Would you maybe discuss number 3 first, or?
You could,
How do you
yeah.
approach that call? Or
So-
number 1?
Good question. So I think it's going to vary depending on what the purpose of this in terms of a lead follow-up is going to be dependent on what was said on the first call. So it's kind of hard to say for sure what it's going to be. But at the end of the day, the purpose of it, ultimately is to schedule an appointment so that I can find out this stuff. So now, but to your point, Greg, I may need to do some of these ask questions about some of these other things in order to set the appointment. So yeah.
So on a follow-up call, your goal is still just to set the appointment.
At the end of the day, my goal is still just, I want to get an appointment so that I can get in front of them. So, yep, good. All right, we good on this? Okay, next then. This next area is what I like to call suspects. And I used to get a laugh every time I would say that, but for some reason, nobody laughs anymore when I say it, but, all right. Thanks, Carly.
I laughed.
It's a little
It's
you laughed a little bit, okay.
You know what I mean?
So really though, what it
We're the
is
suspect.
SOI. But here's the reason I call them suspects, actually, which maybe here's the problem. Because we're getting younger and younger people in, not that they're younger, let me rephrase that, because I'm getting older. And I need to change this instead of saying suspects and just say, this is the group that we would call sus.
There you go.
Yeah, now I know what I need to do, right? So for Greg and Mariana, do you guys need me to explain sus?
Yes.
It means suspect, basically. It's for, what's the game? Among Us. There's like a game on your phone called Among Us and somebody game. I'm trying to pretend I'm not as old as I am, but that's not working. All right, so suspects or your SOI, okay? So what we're gonna talk about now for the rest of the class is how do we manage this group? So, because here's the thing, so let me make sure you understand this. So in fact, let me back up to where I started the whole class with. If you don't do anything else that I teach you, do what I'm going to teach you now, okay? And here's why. Because if you will do, I'm going to give you 4 criteria for this. If you will follow the 4 criteria that I'm going to give you, it will work. It is guaranteed to work because it's a math problem. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But I'm going to give you the 4 criteria. So now keep in mind this. Remember, the purpose of our lead follow-up or our prospecting is to set what? An appointment. The purpose of me going on an appointment is then to find out, are they committed to working exclusively with me? Will they sign an agreement? Do they have clear and present needs that can be met? Are they ready to do something with it now? And I'm going to manage those people through keep setting appointments with them until the transaction's done. Okay. But in the event that they're missing one or more of these, they're now what we would call a lead. And so therefore, I just need to stay in touch with them. Meaning, if I had somebody that's ready to buy, they're committed to using me and all that stuff, but I don't have an appointment, I at minimum need to be in contact with them once a week. Well, in the event that they're not setting an appointment with me, I keep doing this appointment once a week. Or excuse me, not appointment, phone call, contact one time a week. Or if I determine, so now let me take it to the next level. So hopefully make sure you guys are following where I'm going with this. Let's say that I'm doing this once a week phone call, trying to set an appointment, but I can't get an appointment. And the reason I can't get an appointment is because they're saying, we're just not ready now. We're going to do it, but we need to wait till May. We got to wait till school's out because we don't want to uproot our kids in the middle of school. So as soon as they're out of school, we want to do something. Okay, well then, would I want to have an appointment? Remember I said on this, the appointment on this should not be any further out than a month at max.
Does an appointment have to be a face-to-face or can it be over the phone?
So for now, I wanted you to say it's got to be a face-to-face. Could be a Zoom, I guess, but face-to-face. Okay. Now, let's say though that I got this client that says, yeah, we want to sell our house, but we're not going to do it till June. We want to sell and buy, but we're not going to do it till June because we want to wait till school's out. Okay, well, I clearly am not going to schedule an appointment with them once a month to just go meet. Now, you could, but typically you're not, right? Would I want to be calling that person every week, once a week though, until June? Probably. What? Yeah, see, I was going to say that's if I did that, if that person was saying we're not going to do anything till June, yes, we're planning to use you, but we're not going to do it till June. I probably don't want to call once a week because that's going to be a little too much, right? Therefore, this is why I say a prospect is becoming a client, they're becoming a suspect, or I'm going to drop them. Okay? So what I'm doing with this lead follow-up is about just figuring that out. Okay, now that I've figured that out, that they're just not going to be ready for a while, I want to put them into this category here, but I'm going to work with them differently here than I would this group or this group, because if you're calling them weekly, they're going to kind of be like, leave me alone. Like, never mind, we're not going to use you. You quit calling me. And you're not, same thing with trying to meet with them once a month. They're gonna be like, what's the point of, one time for you to tell us what we need to do to get the home ready? Great. After that, like, what do we need to meet for? So that's why there's this third category over here that we're gonna then talk the rest of the time about. Now, before we do that though, I gotta show you a couple of things. And the first thing I'm gonna show you is a video here. So let me get the screen pulled down. Oh yeah, for you guys that are on Zoom, thank you, Nicole. If the rest of you guys will on Zoom, just throw your name and office in the chat box, I would appreciate it, just so that I have a roll of who was in class. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys this video here. But let me explain it first a little bit, okay? So, even though I was joking earlier about like how old I am, I'm not old enough to really know this, but back when TV was there, it was all black and white. There was a sitcom that was on that was called Ma and Pa Kettle, which Ma and Pa Kettle are just kind of redneck people, whatever. So we're gonna watch a little clip from the Ma and Pa Kettle here, and then we'll talk about it here for a second, okay? And part of this is because I told you that working this sphere of influence is a math problem, and it's guaranteed to work. And the reason it is because it's math. So I'm going to show you this math video real quick, and then we'll talk about it.
On Ma. And 25% divided between the 5 of us. Yida, Crowbar, myself, Tom, and the baby. That makes 5% for each one of us.
Billy, you're cheating yourself. If there's 25% divided among the 5 of you, that's 14% apiece.
Oh, no, listen, Pa. I wouldn't cheat you. You know I wouldn't. Now, look here. I'll show you. Let me rub this out here. And now, 25 divided by 5 is 5. You see, 5 won't go into 2, will it? No. But 5 goes into 25 5 times, you see?
No, you're wrong, Billy. Now, I'm a pretty good mathematician. Now, 5 into 25, 5 won't go into 2, will it?
No.
But 5 goes into 5 once. Now, we didn't use the 2 before, so we bring it down here. Now, 5 into 20 goes 4 times. There you are. 5 into 25, 14.
No, look, Pa. Let me prove it to you now by multiplication. 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25.
Billy, I'm surprised you're learning.
Huh?
I'm surprised that you're learning. Now I'll show you. 5 times 14 is 25. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5. 25. That's it.
No, look, Ma. See, look, you're wrong there because I'll prove it to you. We'll put down 5 14s here. 14. There. Now I'll prove to you by addition that 5 14s is not 25. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20.
21, 22, 23, 24, 25. There you are. Gotta brush up, Billy. I don't want to see you boys cheated.
All right. What?
Actually, maybe.
I know, right? Okay. So, stop the screen share here. All right. So the reason I show you that is because we're going to do some math now. And to some extent, you might feel like I'm doing Ma and Pa Kettle math, but I'm not. And I'll show you what I mean by that, and it'll all make sense. But here's the key. The way that most people approach working their sphere of influence, they approach it as an open system. So we're going to talk about 2 systems now. And we're going to talk about an open system versus a closed system. So first, I want to talk to you guys about an open system. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. If I were to just take a map and I drew a circle on the map, and it would have to be a pretty large circle on a map. But if you took a map and you drew a circle on the map, what are the chances that any one person in that circle is going to be moving over the next year. Any idea of what that would look like? And are you following what I'm saying? So if I just took a map, drew a circle on it and said, what are the odds that somebody inside that circle is going to move? What do you think it would be? 50%? So 50% of the people are going to move?
Oh, okay, it's probably lower.
Okay.
Probably closer to 25%.
Okay, so here's the thing. So let's just say now it would have to be a larger number than this, but let's just say that out of the 100 people, how many of those are going to move within a year? So Carmen's saying 25 out of the 100. What do you guys think? Too high, too low, just right?
Too high.
Too high? Okay,
Too high.
Okay, what do you guys think it should be?
Maybe like 10 to 15.
10 to 15? Okay, good. So here's the thing. So here's what I will tell you is now keep in mind if you just went to a neighborhood and said, okay, based on what Russ is just about to say, this is what's going to happen. It's not going to happen within like one neighborhood. Like that's why I said you'd have to have a pretty big circle on there for this to take place. But according to the Census Bureau, so what they do when they take the census, essentially what they have said is 12% of the population will move every year. So when you said 10 to 15, that's really actually pretty accurate, is 12% of the population will move, but that includes renters. So if we factor out for renters, it's going to end up being 7%. Okay. Now, let me tell you why I'm saying all this. How many of you have heard, and if you haven't heard this yet, at some point you're going to hear this, but I would be curious to know. So either raise a hands or you guys on Zoom unmute and tell me. But somewhere along the line, if you have not heard this yet, you're going to hear this. That if you talk to 100 people, you should get 10 leads, and from those 10 leads should turn into one transaction. Has anybody heard that yet? You have, Erica? Okay. So you're going to hear that. If you haven't yet, you're going to hear people say to you, for every 100 people you talk to, you should get 10 leads, and from those 10 leads should turn into one transaction. Where that comes from is the idea of 12% of the population is going to be moving. So if you talk to 100 people, essentially 12 out of the 100 should be doing it. But the reason that people say it is 110-1 instead of 112-1 is because 110-1 just sounds better. So why not just round it down to that, is where really that has come from. Okay. Now, here's the problem with that. So now remember, what we're going to talk about here is we're talking about an open system versus a closed system. And so what I'm going to show you is the problem that most people have. The way most agents go about working their sphere of influence is they work it as an open system. And the problem with an open system is it's not going to be as effective as a closed system. And I'll show you, don't worry if you don't understand what I'm saying. We'll get there, okay? But first I got to show you this, because this actually sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Like if you talk to 100 people, you should get 10 leads and it should turn into one transaction. That should sound fairly good to you. Now, here's the thing though. Essentially, it's basically this. Okay. So if we were looking at the odds, this is what it really translates out to be, but don't stress too much about that. But I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Because if that was true, if I could just talk to 100 people and I would get 10 leads and it would turn into a transaction. See, some of you guys, I've shared the story, and the rest of you I'll share it in another class. But I've shared the story about that I was doing 50 contacts every day. So essentially, I was doing 250 contacts a week. So if we followed this formula here, if I did 250 contacts a week, I should have gotten 25 leads every week, and I should have done 2.5 transactions every week. Well, times that by 52 weeks in a year, I should have been doing 100 transactions per year. But I wasn't. And the reason I wasn't was because this sounds good, 110-1, but really what it is saying is this, that the odds are 9-1. So let me show you what I mean. So how many people we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Okay, watch this. Okay. According to this, if this is true, the odds are basically 1 out of every 10. Okay, so we got 9 people here. So what that means is if I go talk to Mariano and he tells me no, then I go to Jeremy and he tells me no, and Greg, and then all the way around. So I get told no, 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 no. Okay, so I've gotten told no 9 times. What's gonna happen at number 10?
Yes.
According to this, they should tell me yes, right? Right?
Yes.
But see, the problem with that is that actually shows our lack of understanding of really how odds work, because that's not what it says. Let me show you what now, this might be a little depressing, okay? But don't get depressed, because I'm gonna give you the good news in a minute.
I'm a little depressed.
Are you? Well, it's gonna get worse it's gonna get worse before it gets
All
better,
right.
Mario. Because here's what this really says. If the odds are 9 to 1, then what that means is this. If 1 out of 10, but if I go talk to knock on Mariano's door, what are the odds that he's gonna tell me no? That he's gonna say no to? Okay, I'll help you. The odds are 9 times greater that he's gonna say no than that he's gonna say yes. So it's 9 to 1 against me when I knock on his door, okay? Now, if I then leave and go to Jeremy's door and knock on his door, what are the odds now? Okay, good, that's right. See, this is where this gets a little depressing, because logically, when you hear this, if you talk to 100, you're gonna get 10 leads and it'll turn into 1 transaction. Logic says, well, if the odds were 9 to 1 here, then it should be 8 to 1 here, and then 7 to 1, 6 to 1, 5 to 1, 4 to 1. That's how logically, when you hear this, that's what your brain hears, is the more you do it, the more likely you're gonna get a yes. But in actuality, what it says is this. What are the odds here? 9 to 1. Now what are they? Now what are they? Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? So what happens when I go to number 10? What are the
9
odds?
to 1.
See that? That's the problem. That's the problem with an open system. In an open system, the odds do not get better based on the number of times you do it. Now, we're not going to get this deep into math, but in math, there is a thing called the regression towards the mean that says, meaning if you were down in Vegas and you were looking at like the roulette wheel, they will kind of show you like the last time numbers came up, and the further away it gets from a number showing up, the more likely it'll show up. That is because of this thing called regression towards the mean. But it doesn't change the fact that the next time you spin that, the odds are still the same. So let me show you what I mean. I brought my dice. We're gonna do our own little Vegas experiment here, okay? So, sorry for you guys on Zoom. You're not gonna be able to see this, but we'll tell you what we're doing. Somebody pick a number between 1 and 6. 4, okay. So what we're gonna do, so now with that, if I roll this dice, what are the odds of me rolling a 4? Okay, good. So the odds are 1 out of every 6, it should be a 4. But now doing what we just said here, really the odds are 5 to 1 against me rolling a 4. The odds are 5 times greater that I'm going to roll something else besides a 4. Follow me? So now let's see how many times it takes me to roll this to get a 4, okay? Okay, so there was a 5. So keep track of how many times I rolled. Okay,
Look at
twice.
that.
Okay, so I rolled it twice and I got a 4, okay? So now let's do it again. So start over. So let's see how many times I have to roll it. Okay, so there's a 1. 1 roll, we got a 1. 2 roll, and it's a 5. 3rd roll, a 6. 4th roll is a 5. 5th roll, a 3. Okay, so based on the odds being 1 out of 6, what's going to happen right now? I'm going to roll a 4, right?
Mhm.
But what we just learned, really, the odds are still 5 times greater that I'm not going to roll a 4. And I did. I rolled the 2. Okay, so there's 6 times that I've rolled it. 7, 8. What's going on? 9, 10,
Maybe I picked the wrong number.
11. No, you did good. It's proven to my point.
The more you
12.
roll and don't hit, the more the odds are. Not the more the odds, but the more you're
13.
getting farther away from it. Like,
Now, like that's the piece where I'm saying the regression towards the mean will say that it's a better chance, but I've rolled it 13 times and I still haven't gotten the 4. This is what your prospecting looks like, by the way. And I know you're clear of that, but 14. There's 15. 16. I mean, like, why is it not coming up? It should, based on that, right? 17. 18.
I like the other one better.
I know, right? 19. 20. Okay.
Don't go to
so you're
Vegas.
1 out of
I know,
20.
not
Not
there-
to Vegas.
Carmen. Sometimes I teach this class and it keeps coming up, and I'm like, I'm out of here. See you guys later. So look at that. It took 20 times to get a 4. But wait a minute. I thought the odds were 1 out of 6. So I should have rolled it, what, at least 3 times, but it didn't. That's because in an open system, so here's the key thing. In an open system, the odds do not get better based on the number of times you do it. So here's the thing. You go knock on doors in a neighborhood where people are more like there are some areas that there's a lot of turnover, and other areas there's not as much. You go to an area where there's not a whole lot of turnover, it doesn't matter how many doors you knock on. Those people aren't moving. Okay, but don't worry about that. Just worry about right now, in an open system, the odds don't get better. See, let me say that to you a different way. Really, if you go out and knock on out of the 100, really what it boils down to, this 7%, is 93%. There's a 93% greater chance that the people are not going to be moving than that they are. Now, remember, I said this is going to feel depressing for a minute, but there's hope. So don't go jump off the deck over here on this. You know. But that's what this, in an open system, that's how it works. So when you go knock on doors, the odds are 93% that when you knock on their door, they're going to tell you no. Like there is a huge likelihood they're going to say no over that they're going to say yes. And here's the bad news. Doesn't matter how many times you do it, the odds don't get any better. That's an open system. Now, here's the good news. I'm going to teach you a closed system, okay? And how so let me stop for a minute and make sure you guys understand what I'm saying. The way most agents work their database, their SOI, is through an open system, okay? Sorry.
You better go catch it.
I know, right? Okay, so in an open system, that's the way most agents work their sphere of influence. They work it as an open system, meaning they'll just keep putting people in. And in fact, I have been to many a seminar where the trainers have had people up on the stage and they're bragging about how great the person is. And how many people do you have in your database? And they'll say 4,000. And when I hear that, I go, yeah, they're working an open system, so here's the other thing. Most people will tell you you're going to get a 10 to 15% return off of it. So let's just go off of a 10%. If somebody had 4,000 people in a database and they were going to do 10% transactions with 10% of those, how many transactions would they do in a year then if they had 4,000? They should do 400 transactions a year. Do you think that the people who get up on the stage and say, I got 4,000 people in my database, are they doing 400 transactions a year? Right?
Have no time to be up on stage.
Yeah, you're not. They might be doing 75, 50, or maybe even 100, but really probably not beyond that. So what I'm going to show you is the first mistake most people make in working their database is they work it as an open system. We want to approach it as a closed system. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But first, let me show you what happens in a closed system, okay? Now, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to try to roll to get a 4. Only this time, every time I roll and get a number that's not a 4, I'm going to put one of these stickers on. Then, if I roll again and the sticker shows up, we're not going to count it as a roll. I get a free throw. That's just the rules of the game. Is you get it now. You can't go do this in Vegas. Don't try it, Mario. If you try it in Vegas, you'll end up out in the desert somewhere.
Indeed.
So this won't work in Vegas, but the good news is it will work in your real estate career because it's your game. You get to decide the rules. So here's the rules.
So this is a closed system now.
This is we're going to do now a closed system. So let me show you what happens in a closed system. We're going to see how many times I have to roll it to get a 4. But if I don't get a 4, I'll put a sticker on it. The next time I roll, if the sticker shows up, we don't count it. I get a free throw. Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, so now let's see what happens. Okay, so there's a 3. So now I'm going to take a sticker here. I'm going to put a sticker over the 3. So now if that 3 shows up again, I probably should have used a different color than red, huh? So it's easier for you guys to see. We'll go with yellow. All right, the sticker shows up. It doesn't count as a throw.
Colorblind, I can't see yellow.
We'll tell you that. All right, so if the sticker shows up, it doesn't count. So I've rolled it one time right now, okay? So now let's see what happens. Okay, there's a 6. So now I'm going to put a sticker on the 6. So we've rolled it twice. Free throw. So that one doesn't count. So I've still only rolled it twice. And there's the 1. So now we'll put a sticker over the 1. So I've rolled it how many times? 3 times. There's the 2. So now we'll put the sticker over the 2. I've rolled it 4 times. Free throw. Free throw. Free throw. Free throw. This is where I do my squats for the day. Free throw. Yeah, you should have picked a different number. There we go. Okay, so how many times did I have to roll it to get the 4?
4.
5.
So on the 5th one, it showed up. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Let's do it again and see how long I have to roll it. How many rolls to get a 4 now? Okay, so there's 1. But now everything's covered up except for the 4. So what's going to happen now?
2.
Yeah, the most I'm going to have to roll it is 2 times, right? Because I get a free, every one of these is free throw. Free throw. Free throw. Free throw. 4. So how many times do I have to roll it?
2.
Now what's going to happen though if I did it again?
1.
1. From here on out, it's 1, 1, 1. It's either a free throw or a 1. That's how a closed system works. Okay. Now, so how would we do that in real estate? I'm going to show you. Okay. All right. So protocol number 1 for working our sphere of influence is it has to be a closed system. Green marker's not working well. Okay, so the first protocol for working your sphere of influence. Now remember, I said this is guaranteed to work. And the reason it's guaranteed is because it's a math problem, okay? So the first thing is it has to be a closed system. So what would that mean in terms of our database or our SOI? If it has to be a closed system, what does that mean? Here's what it means. It has to be fixed in size. Okay. So it has to be fixed in size. See, the problem was the way most people do it when they go to 4,000 people is it gets diluted and they've got too many. So it has to be fixed in size. Well, what size should it be? The number one rule, or actually, let me rephrase that. I said rule. These are protocols, not rules. What's the difference between a protocol and a rule? Okay. A protocol is a required condition, okay? It's required. Rules were meant to be broken, like you guys have heard that before. Rules are meant to be broken. Protocols, no. You have to follow, okay? So these are the protocols. The protocol is it just has to be closed system fixed in size. So really what that means is it just has to remain the same. But I'm going to tell you for at least the way you're going to ramp it up and get it working is you want it to be 200 people in size. Okay. Now the the protocol is it has to be fixed in size. So it really doesn't matter what the number is. What matters is you can't have 201, you can't have 199. It has to remain fixed in size. Okay. And I'll show you why that's so important in just a minute. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that I have not shared with you yet. So let me share this next. So this whole process is going to look something like this. So now remember, I said it's guaranteed to work, okay? What you're looking at here is the learning curve. We're at half of a bell curve, okay? Now, it's guaranteed to work. And for you to get it to this point right here, from that point on, from there on, it is going to generate well over a 6-digit income, okay? But it's going to take between 6 and 9 months to get that to happen, okay? Meaning it's going to look like this. It's going to kind of go like this, and then all of a sudden it's going to shoot up. Now, how much do you guys know about bamboo and how bamboo grows? Anything? So far, I'm striking out. Every time I ask you guys a question, everybody goes like this.
I know, it grows really fast.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So it grows really fast is typically what we have all heard about bamboo, is that it grows really fast.
Slow starter.
But, say that again.
It's a slow starter.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, nothing will come up out of the ground for, I don't know, months or a year.
No, like 4 years.
Yeah.
It's in the 5th year. So for 4 years, you can't see anything going on above ground. For 4 years, it's growing, but you don't see it. And then in the 5th year, what Carmen said is right. All of a sudden, it'll shoot up 100 feet in 3 weeks. So that's why most of the time we always go, oh, it grows really fast. Well, that's true once it breaks through. Then think of this as the same thing. Now, so in order for bamboo to grow that quickly, what is it doing the first 4 years? That's right. It's putting its root system in place to enable it to grow that quickly. That's what's going to happen with what I'm showing you right now. Here's the thing that frustrates me. I started this class by telling you guys what I'm going to teach you is 100% guaranteed to work. Here's my frustration. Most of you are going to leave here and not do any of it. You're going to leave here and not do it. No, and I'm not saying that to be negative, but I have just learned that most people will leave. You're going to be excited about it. When I run the numbers for you here in a minute, you guys are going to be excited about what I'm showing you. Yet most of you are going to leave here and not do it. And what I've learned is the reason is because during the first 4 to 5 months of you working the system the way I'm going to show you, nothing happens. Nothing. You're going to feel like I'm doing all this work and nothing's happening. But guess what is going on where you can't see it? It's putting its root system in place, because after 4 or 5 months, all of a sudden it's going to shoot up like this. And then from that point on, it will generate for you well over a 6-digit income per year doing just these 4 protocols. So part of that, I say, you're not going to go do it, is because I'm challenging you to be like, no, I'm going to do it. So are you going to do it, Mario?
Oh, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, good. That's where I want you guys is like, I'm gonna, because I promise you, I ran my real estate career doing this and it works. Everybody that I've ever trained in it that will do it, it works. Because it's a math problem. And I'll show you what it looks like. And you'll see that it's guaranteed to work. If you do it the way I show you, it is guaranteed to work. Okay. Oh, my leg just about gave out there all of a sudden.
Well, I guess
What?
Too many spots.
Yeah, that's High five. You're right. Okay.
I guess that's where the mindset comes in.
We'll say what you mean by that.
Well, during those 6 or 4 months or whatever, nothing's gonna come up. So you're gonna give up, or
Yes.
why am I doing this?
That's right. That's why I prepare you with that and tell you the story about the bamboo, because I want you to realize, like, you're gonna have to go through and do this and work it for 4 or 5 months before you see the results that you want to see. But then when they come, it goes fast. Like, honestly, you will go from like, I'm not saying you aren't gonna do deals from other things, but from this, you're not gonna see deals for the first 3, and that's not totally true. You may too. But as a general rule, first 3, 4, 5 months, you're not gonna see any deals from. But then all of a sudden, you're gonna have 4 or 5. In 1 month, you're gonna have 4 or 5 deals happening like that. Because you've gotten the root system in place and it starts to work, okay?
Hey,
Now,
Russ,
yes,
is this just for buyers or is it for buyers and sellers?
correct, buyers and sellers. This will generate both. And in fact, I would say that it's gonna generate more sellers than buyers, but I mean, that's not 100% true. But if you want listings, this is the way to do it, is what I would say for sure. Yeah. It's a great question, Bill. Okay, so we good on this? So just recognize it's gonna take some time. And the reason I bring that up is don't get frustrated when you start doing it and it isn't working, because it will work, okay? All right, next. So the next thing then, so we've gone through protocol number 1 is it's gotta be fixed in size, okay? Let me erase all this because I get it. All right, next thing with this. Now, so let me just make sure you guys get it and understand how this works. Is it has to be fixed in size. Now, the truth is, it doesn't matter what number it is, but I'm telling you guys right now, for you guys, until it's working, until you hit that 6 months where it's working, keep it at 200. Once it starts to work, if you said to yourself, I want to back it off to 100, you could do that. If you said, I want it to be 150, you could do that. If you said, I want it to be 250, you can do that. What matters is that it's closed system, fixed in size. But until it's working, the way I'm going to train it to you guys is it's 200. It's 200 until it's working for you, and then you can adjust it to whatever you want it to be.
Russ, when you're getting to the adjusting part, would you adjust it to more people if you want to be busier and less people if you don't want to be as busy?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Now, let me say this though. The least number that I've seen somebody be able to manage it and have it still work is 75. So meaning I've seen people say, I'm going to dial it back and I just want it to be 75. And what Brielle was asking is right on. Is it may be a scenario where you're like, I don't want to be as busy as I was. I don't want to do 5 deals every month. Like some of you might not want to do 5 transactions every month. You might say, hey, if I did 3, I'm good. Okay, well then you back it off a little bit. So others might go, well, no, I want to do more like 10. Okay, well then maybe you need to go to 300 people. And I'll show you how to make that decision in a little bit. But first, let's go through this. Okay, so let me show you what this looks like and why this works as keeping it as a fixed in size system. Okay, now, how many people does it have to be?
200.
Okay, even so now it's 200, but we're going to do some math now, and to keep it easy, I'm going to do it as 100 people. You still have to, I always worry when I do this that people are going to leave the class going, well, Russ showed me the numbers with 100, so I can do it with 100. It will work with 100, but it's probably going to take longer than 6 to 9 months if you do it with only 100. That's the reason I have you start with 200 is because that's more than 200 is going to be too many. You'll get overwhelmed and you won't do it. Less than 200 will work, but it's going to take more like a year or 18 months. The 200 seems to be the magic number to get it up and running within a 6 to 9 month period. That's the reason I say 200. Once it's working, you could adjust it. But until then, it's 200. Now, for the sake of me just showing you this and having you understand and see how powerful it is, we're going to use 100. Now, I've got a red marker and a green marker here. And we're going to define these people in the system out of this 100 as either red or green. Okay. Now, let me explain what that means. Is somebody in there out of this 100 that is green is going to be somebody who will either do business with you or refer business to you. Someone in there that is red is not going to do business with you or refer people to you. Now, here's the challenge though. Getting people to tell you the truth is hard. It's not an easy thing. And trying to decide if I should do a demonstration of it with you or not. I don't know. Let me think about it. But here's the thing.
Yes, always demo.
What's that?
Yes, always demo.
All right.
Is it gonna hurt?
We're gonna, yeah, Mariano wants to know if it's gonna hurt. It might. All right, I'm gonna do it. I didn't bring my cards with me though. All right. We're gonna have to pretend that, oh shit, I was gonna pull this business card out. But no, all right, it's okay. Does anybody have a bunch of cards with them? Yeah, are there a bunch in here? Awesome, okay, good.
You can pass them out to your friends if you want.
Okay, so now, let me show you guys what this looks like here, okay? So watch this. So knock, knock.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21, and I just wanted to see if you'd be willing to do me a favor.
Yeah, what's that?
Would you just hold on to my business card?
Sure.
And if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling real estate anywhere, have them give me a call.
Okay.
Awesome. Knock, knock.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. I just wondered if you'd do me a favor.
Sure.
Would you hold on to my business card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, have them give me a call?
Okay.
Cool. Knock, knock.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Will you do me a favor?
Yes.
Would you hold on to my business?
Well,
Would you hold on to my business card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, have them give me a call. I'm your numbers. Okay. Knock, knock.
Hello.
Hi, my name's Russ. I'm a local real estate agent. Would you do me a favor?
Sure.
Would you just hold on to my business card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, have them give me a call.
Yes.
Knock, knock. Hi, my name's Russ. I'm a local agent, Century 21. Would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Would you just hold on to my business card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere real estate, give me a call and let me help them?
Sure.
Prospecting's so easy, guys. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Knock, knock. Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Will you do me a favor?
Sure.
Would you hold on to my business card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling anywhere, have them give me a call? Knock, knock. Oh, so who's there? My name's Russ. I'm a local agent. Would you do me a favor?
Could be.
Okay, would you hold on to my card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling real estate anywhere, have them give me a call?
I won't, because
You
I'm
won't.
also a real
Oh, are
estate
you?
agent, so
Oh,
sorry.
good for you. Thanks. Knock, knock. Hi, my name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Would you hold on to my business card, and if you hear of anybody thinking of buying or selling real estate anywhere, have them give me a call?
Yeah, of course.
For real. If you hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling real estate, are you gonna call me and let me help them?
Probably not,
Okay, why?
because I just don't know anybody right now that's looking to.
Oh, that's
buy or
okay.
sell.
I work with my clients at their pace. So if you did hear of somebody though, would you refer them to me?
I might.
You might, good enough. For real.
For real.
Yeah, if you hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling real estate anywhere, you're gonna refer them to me?
Well, I'm gonna say no because of my position. I'm also a realtor.
Oh. So why did you tell me you would before then?
Because I thought it was a game.
Oh.
But now it's for real.
Oh, okay. For real. If you hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling, you gonna refer them to me?
No,
Why?
because I'm a real estate agent.
So wait, so why did you lie to me?
I was saying what he said, I was.
Okay, thought it was a game, all right.
Hey, Russ, I would say no, because it's too hard to keep track of your information for me to pass along to other people in the future.
Okay, Brielle, but what if I stayed in touch with you and made sure you had my information?
Then yes.
Okay, good. Right, for real. You hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling, you gonna call me and let me help?
No, Russ.
Why?
I'm human. I lie.
Oh. For real. Did I get you? Did I do it?
You didn't
Oh,
do it.
I skipped Jeremy. Not.
I apparently don't have a house. Who's there?
My name's Russ. I'm with Century 21. Would you do me a favor?
What's the favor?
Hold on to my business card, and if you ever anybody thinking of buying or selling real estate anywhere, have them give me a call.
You know, I will. I'm actually a real estate agent myself. Maybe some referrals though, right?
Yeah, sure.
Referrals.
For real.
Yeah.
Why?
I was trying to get your lead.
Oh, okay. For real, Troy.
I'd say her answer would be most similar.
Okay. For real. You hear of somebody thinking of buying or selling, you gonna have a call me?
Possibly if I'm too busy, because I'm also a real estate agent, but if I'm too busy.
Wait, so, whoa, wait a minute. Why did you not tell me that before?
I wanted to get rid of it.
Okay.
But
Which, by the way, remember what I told you guys? I'm gonna show you how easy it is to get people to lie. The reason they lie is what you guys are telling me right now. Wow, FYI, the reason they lie to you is that, right? So for real, if you hear somebody thinking of buying or selling, you can call me and let me help.
Who are you? I'm
My
sorry.
name's Russ. I'm with Century
Russ?
21.
Have we met?
Yeah, I came by and they gave you a card. Says my name's
Oh,
Mario.
you left a card?
Yeah. Good news. I got another one. So for real, if you hear somebody, would you call me? Let me help them.
Yeah, maybe. I still don't know anybody really that's.
That's okay. I don't expect you to know somebody, but if you did meet somebody, you're gonna call me and let me help. For real.
Yeah, maybe.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have I gotten to everybody else already? I have. For real. For
Who
real.
knows?
If you heard, so hold on. As soon as class is over, you walk out the door, somebody calls you and says, hey, I want to sell my house. So you're gonna call me and let me help. For real. For real.
I could, yeah, maybe,
Why?
because you seem like a nice guy.
I do? Oh, that's good. But for real. if
All right,
somebody
maybe
calls-
not.
Okay, why? Thank you. Why?
Just, I don't know, I'll probably just forget who you are. I don't know.
Okay, but for real, like, if I called you tomorrow and said, Carmen, don't forget me. If you come across somebody who wants to buy or sell, don't forget to call me and let me help. Are you gonna forget? Well, okay, let me ask you this way. For real, are you gonna call me and let me help?
Yeah, I probably would. Yeah, why
For
not?
real?
Yes.
No, for real.
Okay, maybe not.
Let me help you. So let me help you, Carmen.
No.
For real, are you gonna call me?
It's gotta be a trick here, for real.
Yeah, no, for real. You asked for this, Brielle. For real.
I'm gonna say no,
Why?
because I'm not gonna give you my business,
Why? You already told me the truth. Tell me again. Why?
because I'm a real.
Thank you. Why are you not gonna call me?
Seven real estate.
Okay, are you gonna call me if you hear somebody thinking, for real?
No,
Why?
because I'm a real estate agent.
Okay, thank you. So why did you lie to me?
I don't know. People lie.
Right, thank you. Okay, here, so
To be nice. It's to be nice.
that's right.
Yes.
You did it to be nice. You didn't want, because my feelings aren't hurt now that you lied to me. I've expected that Carmen was gonna call me. And now I find out next week that she listed a property. I'm gonna be, Carmen, you said you were gonna call me.
I lied.
Right, yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. So remember what we're talking about here. Some of these people in our database here, we think they're all green. Meaning, I think they're all gonna refer people to me, just like you guys said you would. But what's the truth? Some of them are red. And look at how, you guys actually did a really good job with it. Like, generally when I do this, like, even though Mariano picked up on it right away, generally the next people don't pick up on it and they keep going, no, yeah, I'll refer people to you. And then after a while, they're like, no, I'm not going to. Why? Well, because you're bugging me. Okay, but that's not why you're not going to refer people to me. The reason you guys aren't going to refer people to me is what? Yeah, you thought I was role playing. You thought we were practicing, but next time I'll say for real, then you will know that it's not. Okay.
Well, that's
Okay.
after a while, so you were saying for real so many times, I was like, oh. okay.
Yeah, I know. Then you start
Am I not
going, well,
picking up
wait, what?
something here?
Yeah, you're my missing something. Okay, so here's the thing. No matter how many times you say for real to something, which you're not gonna say that to these people when you call them. But no matter how many times, sometimes they're still gonna tell you yes. So let's just say, for the sake of our numbers here, that 50 of that 100 are green. They are gonna be people who will refer people to you and they will do business with you. The other 50 are red. You think they're going to, but they're really not. Because here's the truth. If you knew they weren't going to refer business to you, you don't want them in your 200 people. Okay. But the problem is they're going to say yes, they will, just because they think you're role playing. They don't want to hurt your feelings. They want you to go away. That they'll tell you yes. Even if you said, for real, are you going to refer people to me? Yeah, no, I will if I hear somebody. And then you'll go, okay. And then they'll never refer anybody to you, okay? All right. Now watch this. So now I'm gonna show you the problem first.
How do we get them to tell the truth then? What do we
Let's say that again. You went quiet there.
How do you get them to tell the truth?
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So, but part of it, Brielle, how you get them to tell you the truth is you have to be okay with them telling you. That's the first thing, is you have to be okay with them telling you the truth. So I'll show you, I'm gonna get to how do you know and how do you get them to tell you. I'll show that in a minute. But first I want to go show you guys the problem with an open system. The problem with people who say they've got 4,000 people in a database. I'm gonna show you the problem with it, okay? So now watch this. So let's say that I go prospecting. Remember, the purpose of my prospecting is to set an appointment, but I'm not always going to set an appointment. So I go out prospecting. I come across some people who say, maybe down the road, give us a call another time, whatever. So I throw them in the database here, okay? So let's say, just for the sake of cuz, that I go out prospecting and I get 10 leads. Of those 10 leads, all 10 of them are telling me, yeah, you can stay in touch with us and we'll let you know down the road when we're ready. Now, of those 10, just based on your experience, how many of those 10 that we add, if we could see into the future, will end up doing something with you? Like, and there's not a right answer. So just kind of, you guys tell me a number. I mean, it'll be more red or green.
Red.
Okay, good. So how many of the 10 are we going to say will turn red over time?
8.
Okay, good. Let's do that. We'll do 8. Okay, so watch what happens here. So I go prospect, I get 10 leads. All 10 of them I think are green. So I add it, okay? But if we could see, if our crystal ball wasn't in the shop and we could see, what was really going to happen, we would find out that 8 of them ended up using somebody else. They didn't buy, they didn't sell, whatever, okay? And 2 do end up doing that, either referring business to me or doing business. Sorry, and for you guys on Zoom, you probably can't see the green. So I'm now at 52 green, 58 red, which means I have a total of how many? 110, right? Okay, now, remember, we started this off, we were 50% red and 50% green, right? Now what just happened? So somebody divide the 58 into 110 and tell me what that percentage is. Where's my analytical people? The expressives are like, I'm not even touching my phone. I don't care.
How do you come up with the?
Okay, say that again.
D8, I guess I got lost on D8. What was the question for D8?
Okay, so how we came up with 8 here was that I went out prospecting and I got 10 leads.
Right.
So I'm going to add those people to my database, all 10 of them.
Okay.
But down the road, if we could see into the future, what we would find out is 8 of them were never going to do
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
Only 2 of them really did. But I added all 10 because I don't know which ones are going to or not. Okay. So now look what just happened here. I'm now at 52%, which means over here I'm at 48%. So now let me make sure you guys see here's the problem with an open system. If this 100 people required X amount of work, let's just say 100 hours. I mean, I'm just making this up. But let's say that this 100 people required 100 hours of work. How many hours of work do I now have to do? 110. So my work just increased by what percentage? 10%. So my work just increased by 10% to get 2% less. Can you see the problem with an open system? Guess what happens if you just kept doing that to get to 4,000? This gets worse and worse and worse as you go. Now, here's where I'm going to show you the power of a closed system. Now, in this scenario, remember our protocol number 1 is it has to be a closed system, which in this case, we're saying it's 200, but for this, it's 100. So it means I can't have more than 100, but I can't have less than 100. So what do I need to do to get this back to 100? I got to get rid of 10 people, right? Which 10 should I get rid of? Okay, good. The people who are red. So I'm going to go back in the system and say, okay, who are the people who aren't answering the phone? who just aren't referring people, they aren't doing anything. And I'm gonna get rid of 10 of them, because I wouldn't want to get rid of the people who refer. So like if you had somebody that's referring business to you, you don't want to get rid of them. Or somebody who's saying, yeah, you're gonna list our house, but it's just in 3 months. I don't want to get rid of them, right? But I would want to get rid of the ones who aren't responding, aren't, or, and I'll tell you how to tell if they're red in a bit. So I'm gonna get rid of, let's just say the oldest 10. So I get rid of those 10. Now what happens? So now I'm at 48 red, 52 green, and I'm at 100 again. Which means my percentage now is 52% green, 48% red. Now what happened? The work stayed the same. It's the exact same amount of work, and I get 2% better. So now let's do it one more time to really show you the power of this. So I go out prospecting and I get 10 more leads. Let's reverse it this time. Let's just say we were really lucky. We went into an area that they were going to be tearing down their houses, or I don't know, maybe not that, but we go into an area that people are wanting out for whatever reason. Okay. And we go to California. How's that? Everybody wants out of California right now. Well, maybe not as much now, but during COVID, they all wanted out because you couldn't do anything in there, right? Okay, so let's say we go out prospecting, and this time we come up with 8 that are green and 2 that end up being red. Okay, so we got +2, so we're at 50, but that puts us back to 110. So what do I got to do again? Get rid of 10 red, right? So I subtract those. Now look what happened. I'm still at 100, and my percentage just went to 60, 40. What's going to happen if I keep doing that? If month after month, I just keep putting people in and getting rid of the red and keeping the green? What's going to happen if I just keep doing it? Yeah, so theoretically, I should get to where I've got 100% green. Now, let me pause for a minute and tell you, you're probably never going to get to 100% green. And here's why. Because along the way, people are, and forgive me, but people are going to die. Some of these green are going to move out of state. Some of them are going to go get their real estate license. Like some of these people are going to have referred so many people to you that what's going to happen, and for real, this happens. They're going to have referred so many people to you, and they're going to go start calculating what they think you're making off of it, which is not real, but they're going to calculate what they think you're making off every one of these referrals they give to you and go, well, I had to go get my real estate license. I've referred $30,000 worth of business, or 50 or 60 or what. I'm going to go get my real estate license. Well, if one of these greens goes and gets their real estate license, what color are they now? Red, because they're not going to refer to you anymore, right? So just know you're probably never going to get to 100%. But here's the key. If you can get to where you are at 60%, it's going to work. It works really, really well at 60%. You can get it up into the 80, maybe even 90%, but you're probably never going to hit 100%. Just because some of the people that are green are going to turn red for whatever reason. Like maybe they use you and then they've moved and now they're never going to use you again because they aren't going to ever sell their house and they won't refer or whatever. Like just, you're probably not going to get to 100%, but you don't need to. Once you hit that little graph that I drew for you guys over here showing this and was saying right here's where you can count on it. That's when it hits 60% is you can count on it. So anything 60% or above is going to generate you a ton of money. Make sense? Okay. Now, somebody, I think Brielle asked the question of how do we get them to tell us the truth? So now well, actually, no, sorry. I got one other piece first. So number 2, protocol number 2. We're going to talk about the next one. So the second protocol is this. In order for you to follow this system, you have to have permission from all 200. Okay. You have to have permission from the people to be in the database. You have to get permission from them to be in the database. Now, once we get past a couple of these other things, I'm going to run the numbers to show you why I say it'll generate well over a $200,000 a year income for you. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. But first is you have to have permission from all 200 people. all of them to be in the database. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's what I would recommend that you guys do is after this class, go to your cell phone and go to your contacts that are in your phone and start calling the people that are in there. That's where I would start with to get to the 200 is start with the people that are already in your phone that you've already got saved in. Call them up and here's what you're going to say to them. Now, you're going to say some version of this, meaning like if you're new to real estate, you're going to approach it this way. If I was calling Greg and I'm new to real estate, I'm going to call Greg and say, so ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Greg, this is Russ Orchard. How you doing?
Oh, hey, Russ.
Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. Just
Yeah,
thought I
yeah.
would touch base and see how your family's doing, how work is.
We're all good. Yeah.
Good. So you guys are doing great. Awesome. Well, good. Well, hey, I don't know if you knew, but I went and got my real estate license.
I
Did
didn't
you?
know that.
You hadn't heard that. Okay. Well, one of the things that I've learned is that the best way for me to build that is going to be by referral. And so I'm putting together a select group of people that I'll just stay in touch with about real estate. And I would like to add you to that list. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. What that would mean is I'll just touch base with you from time to time to see if you have any questions. And I'll send you some information about real estate by email. So what would be the best email address?
Da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da. Great. Perfect. Well, I'm going to get that set up. And then in the meantime, if you ever have a real estate need or you hear of anybody, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Boom. That's it. Now, what if you've been licensed and you haven't done that? And so you can't really say, well, hey, I got my real estate license. In that case, here's what I would do. So same thing. So I call up Greg again. Ring, ring. Hello. Hey, Greg, this is Russ. How you doing?
What's happening, Russ?
How much? Hey, just,
Millionaire yet?
what's that?
Are you a millionaire?
I'm
yet?
working on it. I'm trying, but I'm still 2 or 3 steps behind you, I'm sure.
Good, good.
So, hey, purpose of my call is, COVID has kind of, with a lot of people, kind of just made me stop and think. And I really decided that I want my real estate career to be built based off referrals. And so I'm going to put together a select group of people that I'm just going to stay in touch with about real estate. And I'd like to add you to that list. Would that be okay?
Absolutely, sure.
So here's the thing. If you're brand new, call and say, I don't know if you heard, I got my license. If you've been licensed, just call the people and go, hey, with COVID, or you could say, hey, we're coming up at the end of the year. And for 2022, I want my business to be primarily referral dependent. So here's the key thing. I'm putting together a select group of people is what you want to say to them. I'm putting together a select group of people. Now, why do I say it as a select group of people?
Make it feel special.
That's right. It's to make them feel special, like, oh, I got to be in your select group. Okay. Then from there, you're just going to say what that'll mean is that I'm just going to touch base with you from time to time. I'll give you some information I'll send you an email about real estate. I'll call you and just see if you have any questions, stuff like that. Okay. But the key thing is I'm putting together a select group of people and I would like to add you. And you get them to say yes, there's permission. Okay. Now, what if though I'm looking through my phone and I come across somebody that I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to call that person. What do you do? Okay, good. Either call them and just say, you know what, I don't really care. I'm doing it anyway. What's the worst that's going to happen is they'll tell me no, in which case I don't put them in. But if you look at their name and you don't want to call them, chances are they're already read. So part of how you're going to know who people that are read are is when it comes time to call them, you look at their name and phone number and you're like, oh, I don't really want to call them. They're probably read is the reason you don't want to call them. So just don't call them then. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing is you got to get permission from the 200 people. Now, so that's the people in your cell phone. Now let's say I'm out prospecting. So I go out and knock on doors. So Mariano role play with me. So I knock on his door. Hello. And don't set an appointment with me. Okay. So don't set an appointment, but do agree to go in this. So let me show you what this would look like. So I knock on his door. Hi, my name is Russ. I'm a Century 21. We just listed your neighbor's home down the street, the Jones, over on Birch and Pine. Do you know them?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So you probably know he got a job transfer and they got to move. So we're helping him sell their house. Well, part of what we have found is like a lot of times somebody in the neighborhood will have somebody that they could refer to that might want to move in. So I'm just here to see who you know that would want to move into the area.
I can't think of anybody at the moment.
Can't think of anyone? Okay, well, I appreciate you thinking about it. How about you? When do you plan on moving?
Oh, I'm good, thank you.
You're not planning to?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you lived here?
5 years.
You 5 years you've been here? Really? That's great. Where did you move from?
I'm gonna say from Provo.
From Provo down to here?
Yeah.
Awesome. What brought you here?
Work.
Oh, for work. Oh, really? That's cool. Who do you work for?
Century 21.
Oh, really? Interesting, jerk. I'm just kidding. So, okay. So Century 21, that's awesome. Well, good. Well, so if you ever were to move, where would you go next?
Back to Provo.
Back to Provo. So when would that be?
Not right. No, what? No, I won't.
Probably not. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, hey, no worries. So let me ask you this. So like if you had a real estate now, so this is the key piece. See, I'm trying to get an appointment when I can't, I'm gonna go, okay. Well, if you had a real estate need or you heard of somebody, who would you call?
Probably my friend.
No, I don't do that. No, just, I don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know who you would call? You forgot
Am I
what we're doing?
permission?
Yes, give me permission.
Okay, but not the appointment.
Not the appointment.
Okay.
So if you had a real estate need or you heard of somebody, who would you call? Not sure? Okay.
Not sure.
So I would love the chance to earn the right to be that person that you would call. And so what that means is I've got a select, so now notice, I just go right into, I've got a select group of people that I just stay in touch with, keep them updated about real estate, let them know what's going on and just answer their questions about real estate. I'd like to add you to that list. Would that be okay?
Sure, sure.
Okay, great. What that means, I'll just send you an email once a month, that just has information about your area and what's going on. And then I would just touch base with you from time to time to see if you had any questions. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Great. What email address should I send that to? They did it. Okay, boom. That's what permission looks like when you're just prospect. First, try to set an appointment, but if you can't, then with every person to begin with, every person while you're building this to the 200, every person you talk to, I've got a select group of people that I just stay in touch with about real estate. And I'd like to add you to that list. Would that be okay? Yep. Okay. What it means, I'll just send you an email with some information about what's going on in the market. What's the best email address? They give you an email address. Great. And then I'll just touch base with you from time to time to see if there's anything I can help you with or if you know of anybody. Okay. Click. Now, remember, some of them are going to say yes just to get you off the phone. So just part of why I say that is this process that you're going to go through is early on is going to turn over a lot because Mariano's going to say yes. And then a month later, I'm going to call him up and I'm going to be like, hey, Mariano, this is Russ with Century 21. I just wanted to see if you got my emails. And he's going to be like, who are you? Oh, Russ, we talked last month. I told you about the Jones. They were going to be selling their house. I asked if I could stay in touch with you about real estate. Oh, yeah, no, I probably shouldn't. Like all of a sudden they change from yes, you could to, so just know, and that's okay if that happens. But that's early on, you're going to be adding people and dropping people a lot. I'm going to be adding, dropping.
But you don't drop anybody until you're at the ideal number, correct?
Well, so yeah, great question. Ideally, no, I don't want to drop anybody till I get to 200. But if I called you and you said, don't ever call me again, then yeah, I'm going to drop. So go ahead.
Plus the reality, I gave you permission just to end the call, get rid of it. You know,
Right.
So I was
That's-
already in the red.
That's, yeah, you gave me permission just to get me off the phone, but then the next time I call, you don't answer it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. So we good on permission? Know what to say? Okay, let's go to protocol number 3. Number 3 is then, which we've already talked about, you've heard me say it a few times now, is you have to have contact with them 1 time per month via email or mail. And it can be either one. And you could do, 1 month you could email, the next month mail, the next month email, the next month email, the next month email, then do a mailing. Or you could do all email, you could do all mailings, doesn't matter. But once a month, sending them an email or a mail. So I would recommend at least a couple of times a year to do an actual mailing to them. But most of the time, email is going to be sufficient. And what I would highly recommend is on Zap, if you put them into the Zap system and add them to the home value updates, then it'll take care of the email for you. Right? Okay. So contact once a month via email or mail, and one time per month personal contact. The personal contact is either in person, talking to them like you run into them at the gym or the grocery store or dinner or whatever, or you call them on the phone. If you have gotten permission, you could also text them, but I say the text only counts as a personal contact if they reply to the text. If they don't reply to the text, then it didn't count as a contact. Okay, because they may have blocked you, and so if they didn't respond. Okay, so as far as what to mail them or email them, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't. You just send them something that keeps your name in front of them. I have just found something that is talking about like the rates or homes that have sold in their area, something that is around real estate and what's going on in the market is best. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. The protocol is you got to email and mail them something. But I would recommend it be real estate related. Okay. All right. And then the personal contact. So once Greg has given me permission, see, now he's turning red. I'm just kidding.
Gotta go, Russ.
You're good, thanks. So once he's given me permission, then the next phone call to them is going to be, hey, Greg, this is Russ, Century 21. Just checking in to see, make sure you got the email that I sent you. Do you have any questions about it? Is there anything else that I can do for you that help you with in terms of real estate? Nope. Okay. Talk to you later. Like, it's not a high pressure. It's just, I'm calling to check in. Okay. Now that leads us then to the last protocol, number 4. What is the purpose of me calling these people every month? What's the purpose of doing the mailing and then the phone call every month?
Keep your name in there for you.
Okay.
Earn their business.
Earn their business. she
I
said.
can't hear you very well, Brielle, for some reason. I don't know what the deal is.
And build rapport.
It's like your microphone's covered up or something.
Earn their business and build rapport.
There we go. That was better. All right. No. I wanted to make sure I heard you before I told you no. I'm just kidding. But actually, the purpose of the phone call is not to stay in their, I mean, it is to stay in their mind, to build rapport and earn their business. It is. But the real reason, the main reason for the phone call is when I'm calling, I want to be looking for the red. The purpose of my phone call is to find the red. See, what you guys said, which is the intuitive answer, is that I'm calling to get business from them. But actually, it's the opposite. This is a counterintuitive thing. I'm not calling, the purpose of my phone call is not to get a lead from these guys. The purpose of my phone call is to find out, are they red? Because I already showed you guys how hard it is to get people to tell you the truth. And so your purpose of your phone call is to figure out who the red are. So how do we do that? So now let's talk about how you figure it out. I already told you one of the ways. One of the ways you find out that they're red is that when it's the time to call them, so I'm doing my monthly phone call and their name pops up and I go, oh, shoot. I really don't want to call Greg. Every time I call him, like he just complains about blah, 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 or whatever. You know, if you look at their name and you either just skip it or you just are really like, you are just like, I just don't want to call them. I just don't want to call them. They're red. Get rid of them. Now, how else am I going to tell? If I call up and Mariano says, don't ever call me again, he's red. Now, what if this though? This is more likely because a lot of times they're either just going to ignore your phone call. So like if he said yes, but now really doesn't want to be in this database anymore, and I'm calling him, he'll just not answer. So now it is okay to leave a voicemail as long as I've gotten permission. So I call and he doesn't answer. And I say, hey, Mariano, this is Russ, Century 21. Just giving you the check-in call, see if you had any real estate questions or if you knew of anybody that needed my help. Give me a call back. Talk to you later. Click. Okay, so I made my call. A month goes by. He hasn't I haven't heard anything from him. The next month, ring, ring, doesn't answer, goes to voicemail. Hey, Mariano, this is Russ again, just checking in, hope you're doing well. Wanting to make sure you got my mail and see if you had any real estate needs or if you had any questions, anything I could do to help you with real estate. Give me a call back. Click. Doesn't call me back. Third month. Get his voice. Now you decide for you how you want to do this. For me, I love baseball, so I kind of did the 3 strikes and you're out kind of a thing. So I call the third time. Ring, ring, goes to his voicemail. Hey, Mariano, this is Russ, Century 21. Hey, I've got a really important question for you. Give me a call back. Click. Now, is he going to call me back? Are you going to call me back if I said, I got a really important question for you?
More likely.
Okay, so why would he not call me back though? If I left that, hey, I got a really important question, give me a call, and he doesn't call me back, why would he not call me back? Yeah. And he's not calling back because he's like, I don't want to talk to you and I don't really care and whatever. So for me, that's how I figure out if they're read is if I have not heard back from them on the 3rd month, I'll just say, hey, just got a really important question for you. Call me back. Now, what if he calls back?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, good. So now Mariano calls me back. What's my really important question for him?
You want to stay on the list?
Essentially, that's what it is. The idea is when he calls me back is I'm just gonna, so now watch this. So call me back and do the, hey, you said you had a really important question.
Hey, Russ, how you doing? You said you had a question.
Yeah, hey, yeah, I just hadn't talked to you for the past few months and I just wanted to find out, are you still okay with me staying in touch with you about real estate?
No, I'll probably pass. No, thank you.
You're probably not. Okay,
Yeah.
well, hey, I appreciate you calling me back. And the last thing I want to do is be bothering you. And so I appreciate you being willing to tell me that. So yeah, I'll take you off the list.
I'll go hunting with you.
You still will go hunting with me? Okay, cool. But I won't call and bug you about real estate anymore then.
Thank you.
Okay, now, here's the thing. If I was looking for the green every time I called, would I want to hear that from him? No. But because the purpose of my phone call is, because here's what happens. What you guys tell me, what happens if I figure out he's red?
It helps you.
Then you just got rid of them.
Yeah, it helps you to only have people in your database that actually want to work with you.
That's right. Remember the dice and the free throw? That's a free throw. That's how you get the free throw is, so here's the thing. When that happens and Mariano says, yeah, don't call me anymore, I actually should celebrate that. That for me should be a yes, because guess what I just found out? I found a red, which means that what? I got to get rid of him. So now I'm at 199. Now what do I got to do?
Space for a green.
I got to go put somebody else in. And here's the thing, don't be offended. Anybody that I put in is going to be better than him. And don't be offended. But if he's not going to refer people to me or use me, anybody I put in is better than that. And what I know is every time I get rid of a red, I'm helping increase this. Now, watch what happens though. I'm not going to actually run the numbers, but let's say that I went out prospecting and I got 10 more. And let's say all 10 of them ended up being red. So I added 10 more and they were all red. Well, the first protocol says I had to get rid of 10. So I got rid of 10 red and I replaced them with 10 red. Did it hurt me at all? Didn't change a thing. See, the only way you mess up this system is if you get rid of the people who are going to do something. But here's the good news. Why am I not calling looking for the green? Meaning if Mariano is green in there, so he's in my database and he's green, meaning he's going to refer business to me or do business with me. What's he going to do when he comes across somebody who says, yeah, I need to sell my house? What's he going to do? If he's green, if he's truly green, what will he do?
He'll let you know.
That's right. He's just going to call me up and say, what?
Yeah, I got business for you.
Hey, Russ, I just was at work and was talking to this buddy and he said he needed to sell. And I told him he had to use you. See, the reason you don't worry about the green is they take care of themselves. Green will take care of themselves. They'll just call you up and say, come list my house. Or they'll call you up and go, hey, you need to call this person and help them because they need to sell or they want to buy or whatever. Green will take care of themselves. Your job is just to, after you add people, to figure out who the green and the red are. And really, you're just looking for the red. The magic in this system is this. Now, here's the key thing. If this system is not working for you, it is because you're not following these 4 protocols. Because can you see if you did this, how it is guaranteed over time? All you got to do is keep getting rid of people, and the ones who refer business to you, you just hold on to. I mean, imagine if you had 60 people who are going to refer business to you. Well, truly, to be at 50%, you're going to be higher than, or sorry, at 60% of 100 is 60, but 60% of 200 is 120. Imagine if you had 120 people who would refer business to you. See, that's why I'm saying you don't have to get beyond the 60% for it to work. Now, you'll want to still work towards getting it to 80 or 100%. But once you hit 60, it's going to work. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so let's say that I had 200 people and 60% of them are going to do business or refer business to me in the next year. Okay, but now, and here's the thing for me personally, I was okay if they only referred somebody to me once every 2 years, or if they actually did, if it took 2 years and they did some business. So for me, if I had somebody in here and they didn't either do business with me or refer somebody to me after 2 years, then they would become red to me too. I was like, okay, they're red. I'm going to get rid of them because I want to get somebody that is going to refer people. So I would just get rid of them. Cool. 60% of that's 120, right? Now, let's say that you had gotten 120 referrals. Are all of them going to turn into a transaction? No. So let's just say half of them turned into maybe not even a transaction, but that you met with the person. Of those, what if only half of those you did a transaction with? What's our average commission check that we get here at the company? Anybody know? 10,000?
10, 15.
Yeah, and let's just even be conservative. Let's just say that it is 5,000. What's 5,000 times 300? Or not 300, 30? $150,000. So don't go do what I'm teaching you, because it'll only equate to at least 150,000. But this is why I can guarantee you, because see, if you can just get this to 60% of the people in there being green, that they'll just agree to give you a referral. I mean, you don't even have to tell them over the next 2 years. Just say, I've got a select group of people that I stay in touch with. And then for me, if I went 2 years of mailing and emailing them, staying in contact with them, and they never gave me a referral, then at the end of 2 years, I might have considered getting rid of them.
So is that pretty much all you do to keep them green? You don't do anything else other than the emails or mail?
Nope. The only other thing you could do, so like this last week, we had the pumpkin patch. Anybody here from Orem office? Anybody online, Orem? They had theirs last night. But I think it's not a bad idea once or twice a year for this group of 200 people, do some type of an event that you invite them to. Like whether it's go rent out a movie theater and you bring them to stand up and kind of, hey, thanks for all that you guys do to help and support my business. I appreciate it. Or like we did the pumpkin patch, invite people to do that. Typically in the spring, we do an Easter egg hunt thing. Invite those 200 people to come participate in that. But the outside of this, if you will just do this, get a group of 200 people that you have permission to stay in touch with them, stay in contact with them once a month by email or mail and a personal contact. And the whole time, everything is about just figuring out who are the ones who are not going to refer or not do business, and then get rid of them and replace them with anybody. Doesn't matter who you replace them with. Because as soon as you find out somebody's red, anybody's going to be better. Does that make sense? All right. What questions?
The reason I asked that, if you would do anything else, because I'm just sitting here thinking, if you were just emailing me or mailing me, what I like with the mail, I would just throw it away. The email, I might open it. So what I'm saying, if that's all, I would turn red.
That's
very
okay.
quick.
I'm okay if you, well, but that's the purpose of me calling you though once a month. Because yeah, if you're throwing it away, so and I call you and go, hey Mariano, this is Russ, Century 21. Just want to make sure you got the mail that I sent to you. What are you gonna say? Are you gonna say I threw it away, or what are you gonna say? And there's not a right answer. I don't
Right.
care. What are you gonna say to me?
I briefly look at it.
Okay, cool. So is there anything real estate wise, any questions, anything I can help you?
Not at the moment.
Nothing right now. Okay, cool. Talk to you later next month. Like if I start to sense though, see, this is why it's important that you're looking for red. Because if I start to sense that you're not interested, so I call again. Hey Mariano, this is Russ, Century 21. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Hey, just give me the monthly call to see if there's anything real estate wise I can help you with.
No.
Okay. So, hey, I kind of get in the sense that maybe you're not really enjoying the stuff that I'm sending to you and me checking in with you. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay. So would you prefer that I didn't?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, no worries. We'll still go hunting next week, whatever, but I won't call you about real estate anymore. Cool.
Perfect.
Hey, I
Thank you.
appreciate you telling me that. Thank you. See, because now, again, I should be excited if that happens. I want to find the red. Now, I don't want to convince him to be red. So like, I don't want to be like this. You don't want me calling you anymore, do you? Like, I don't want to be like convincing them to be red, but I'm going to call and just say, hey, if I start to sense that he's not interested, I'm just going to tackle it and think of it as you're just reestablishing permission. Are you still okay with me staying in touch with you about real estate? Yeah, I'd really rather you didn't. Okay, great. See, but if you're calling looking for green, you're going to be disappointed. You don't want to hear that because you're going to be like, oh, now I'm rejected. Instead, I'm like, yes, I uncovered a red. Good, get rid of him, put somebody else in. Because if he's not going to refer people to me, that's the same way I say, when you look at your list of calls, so essentially with 200 people, if you think of it as there are 20 work days in a month, you're going to call 10 people a day. If when you go through those 10 people that you're supposed to call that day and you look at somebody's name and you're hesitant to call them, they're probably red. Get rid of them. Change them with somebody that you want to call. That's the good news. These calls should be stuff that you're excited about. Like you should be like, oh, sweet, I get to call Carmen today. Hey, Carmen, hey, when I talked to you last month, you guys were going to Hawaii. How was your trip? Like, it's just it's more of a friend call, but I'm also, hey, just, also wanting to see, do you need anything real estate that I can help you with? No. Okay. Well, if you do, let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. Like your calls should be exciting. Like you should see the people and be excited about it. If you're not, they're probably red. Get rid of them.
Question.
Yes.
I'm gonna throw you for a loop for a second.
Do it.
So what if like you help me buy a home and you're like, trying to have that referral system. I don't want any of your mailings or emails because like it just jumbles up my inbox.
Okay.
But I would still refer my friend to you because I don't know another agent. Am I under green or am I under red?
So, okay. So meaning like you're going to tell me that you don't want me to send it to you?
Yeah.
So, okay. So if I called you, so let's do it. So I call, hey, this is Russ. How you doing?
Yeah.
Good. Hey, just checking in, make sure you're getting the mails and email that I'm sending to you.
I'm getting it, but I'm not opening it.
You're not? Okay. So would you rather that I not send those to you?
Yes.
And would you rather I not call you too? Oh, you don't care if I call? Okay, but you don't want me to send you the mail. Okay, well, so yeah, let me just ask you this. If you had a need I know you just bought a house with me, but if you heard of somebody else, are you still willing to refer me to people?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, then I won't mail to you anymore, but I'll still call you once a month just to check in if that's okay. Okay, great. So yeah, if you're still good with that, now here's the key. I'll leave you in there unless I feel like there's somebody better. The fact that where you said that I helped you buy a house, I'm probably gonna, if I had not helped you, but you had referred people to me, I probably still would leave you in there. If you said that, but you had never referred anybody to me, I might be like, all right, I'm gonna leave her in for a few months and see what happens. But if I come across, there comes a point though, where I'm gonna come across somebody that I feel like is better, then you're gone. I'll just kick you out. So the good news is it's your system. You get to decide the rules, but think of it as like the dice. Every time you uncover, think of it this way. It was no different than every time when I was doing this with you guys, every time I rolled this dice and it wasn't a 4, I was excited to put a sticker on it because it was like, okay, good. This is getting me that much closer. That's what this should be, is every time you uncover somebody red, you should be excited of, I just got a free throw. I don't have to ever call them again. And I also found out they're never gonna refer, which means I can open up that spot for somebody else that will refer to me. So, is that helpful?
Would you want to do both email and call them like monthly, or would you want to kind of call them 1 month and email them another?
No, I, for sure, 100% needs to be an email monthly or a mail, something. And I personally would say the same thing with this, that I'm hesitant, in a classroom setting, I'm always hesitant to say, it's okay if you don't call, because then everybody goes, oh, Russ said I only have to call once every 6 months or whatever. So ideally, you want people that are okay with you calling them once a month. Because like I say, it should just be a quick, and here's the other thing. If you're providing value, that's probably, this is the best way to answer. If you're providing value in these things, they're great with you calling and email, because they see the value in it. If what you're sending doesn't create value, then it'll be a problem. So for me, I have just found if I set them up on Zap, the majority of the people like the information that comes from that home value updates, and that so they don't unsubscribe from it. But that's another way you'll figure out people are read. If they've unsubscribed from your emails, you could tackle that. Hey, I noticed you unsubscribed. Are you preferring not to get this?
Russ, does it tell you if they've unsubscribed? Can you see that?
I don't think it sends you a notice. Can't remember for sure. But so what I would just say, what you would want to do is just as you make the monthly call, go into on Zap, go into the contact and scroll down to make sure that it's still showing as active. Because if they've unsubscribed, it'll toggle off the switch showing that they're
Like, I'm on a CRM on my team and it does tell if they unsubscribe, with our system. So
okay.
It gives you pretty good notice. But, that's not perfect.
Yeah. I'm just not 100% sure on Zap. So I would just say, and part of why I'm not sure is every time I've set people, I've only had one person not, but that person actually emailed me back rather than unsubscribed and just said, take me off the list. So. What other questions? All right, well, this will work. I promise you it will work. If you'll just do these 4 protocols, just follow these things, it is guaranteed to work because you're constantly getting rid of the people who won't and replacing them. And the more you do that, the more you find the people who will. This just becomes more and more, I like to call it mature. It just matures. And eventually you got a bunch of people that are just referring people to you, and your prospecting consists of 10 phone calls a day. Oh, that was the one thing I was going to say. Once it's matured and you've hit the 200 and you got the 60% to where you're getting business off of it, if you decide, yeah, I don't want to make 10 phone calls, I only want to do 5, then you'll change it to 100. If that's ultimately how you're going to decide what the number is how many calls every day are you willing to make to the people in the database. But first, get it to the 200 and mature, then you can adjust it. And you adjust it just based on how many calls per day am I willing to make. And if you decide, well, I don't mind doing 15, then bam, you go to 300. But make sense?
Russ, is that the only email you send is the home value one from Zap?
Typically, yes. Although I would say if you came across something like, I don't know what, I mean, let's say that I was calling Carmen on a monthly basis and she had told me she was thinking about moving to St. George. And let's say that I found out some information about a subdivision or something down there. I might send her something additionally on top of it. But typically, as a general rule, for me, it's just the Zap. Yeah.
And that Zap one goes out automatically once a month?
It actually goes out every week. That's the only downside to that is the Zap one will go weekly as long as the 5 properties that it sends are the same. If they're not, then it won't. So really, I've found that it does it about every 2 to 3 weeks is about how often it goes, every 2 to 3. So I wish we could set it to monthly, but it doesn't. So. Okay. Oh yeah, go ahead.
On your whiteboard under the client side, what does number 4 say?
Tethered. They have to be tethered, which meaning that you have an appointment with the person.
If you guys are gonna use my card, I mean, you guys.
Otherwise, give
You don't
Mariano
have
his
the
cards
balance.
back.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, and then just as a reminder, North Star is sorry for you guys on Zoom, but there's taco trucks, I think, outside now here somewhere. I don't know if they're this side or that side, but stop in at North Star. They'll give you a certificate or a ticket or something. Go get free lunch. So, okay, thanks, guys. See you guys on Zoom.
Thank you.